That's a bit tricky. How would I kill Everlie if it were me? All four of them were thinking about it when the ground shook. It felt a little different from the shaking caused by shock waves, an earthquake. Seems like one of Master Mare's. So is it time for the next phase then? Is it a signal? Yes, Narbarrel. Could you get injured soon? We have to corner you. ILL, try not to make it hurt too much, but I hope you LL forgive me. Oh well, it's for work. 5 late fire moon, September 3:57 a.m. Calm down. Please calm down. Climb called out, trying not to raise his voice too much. But all the people in the warehouse were making a racket, so he wasn't too loud enough to quiet them down. My boy got my wife got taken away, mom and dad, voices of every age and gender combined into a single wave breaking over Climb. It was so clamorous he couldn't tell what anyone was saying. These 300 citizens were the ones Climb and the others had risked their lives to look for. They were the only ones they found. The people in this small warehouse didn't know anything about the situation outside. They were just shouting about how worried they were for their family members who had been taken elsewhere. It was a very natural scene, a natural reaction, but extremely inopportune. Just because they hadn't run into any demons so far didn't mean there weren't any. They had spotted groups of demons a few times on the other side of the street and elsewhere. It was only a matter of time before some of them heard the screams filling the warehouse and came over. You're the only ones we've found. Where is my wife? Can you go find her right away? It probably would have been possible to quiet them if he shouted a little louder. Climb was quite powerful, although there was always someone better. The guards couldn't even compare. The roar of a man that's strong would no doubt squeeze ordinary people's hearts like an eagle's talons. He had to actually do it, though. As Princess Rena's attendant, he'd come bearing her reputation as well as his own. Frightening the people or causing them to feel antagonistic toward the princess could tarnish her reputation, so he couldn't quite muster the courage to get aggressive with them. Could you just give a straight answer? My baby is still so young. Papa, Mama, shut up for a minute. A shout so powerful it practically sent an electric shock through the warehouse, blew everything else away. Brain's fed up roar, the rage of an ultra first-class warrior, terrified the weak in an instant. Wah, wah, wah. If you would just shut up and listen. First of all, this location is in enemy territory. Your safety isn't assured. If we don't move quietly, the demons will come and kill you all. If you understand, then first shut your mouths. Brain scanned the silenced warehouse. Then he glared straight at Climb. The citizens gathered around him slowly backed away. His eyes were so angry. Next, Climb, you should probably just come out and say it. He had a general idea of what he needed to come out and say, but he wasn't confident that was really the smart thing to do. Too hard. Then I'll say it for you. First, you people need to keep this in mind. Anyone who raises their voice in response to what I am about to say will be cut down with zero hesitation. We don't even have a guarantee that you're actually humans. Brain slipped his katana out of its sheath. It sparkled strangely in the small light they brought with them. You're probably wondering what I am talking about, but take a quiet look at the person next to you. Are you all human? The captives looked at one another suspiciously. We saw quite a few demons on our way over here. You know, demons with wings and long tails, demons like humans with their skin ripped off, and plenty of others. Those are the kind of guys strutting around outside this warehouse. You probably saw them when you were brought here, right? All the people Brain looked at nodded, pale-faced. So who can guarantee there aren't any demons in here, ones who can peel the skin off humans and wear it? No one spoke, but there was a wave of movement. The people were looking around with doubt in their eyes and trying to shift positions. The warehouse was certainly small, but it wasn't cramped. There was plenty of space to secure a spot apart from everyone else, if desired. Relax. If there are any demons in here, we'll cut them down for you. If you think about how we got here, you'll understand that, right? After waiting for some relief to appear in the atmosphere, Brain continued, but if the demons from outside rush into this building, I can't make any promises. Hey, don't you think if there was a demon in here, it would call out to its companions to let them know about the invaders? Now you know why I am going to kill anyone who raises their voice. You might think, I am human, killing me would be absurd, but how would we know you're human? So in order to protect the others, we're going to kill anyone who attracts the demons by shouting. He looked around again, focusing on individual faces with a murderous glare. Seems like you understand. Before coming to this warehouse, we went through a lot of other ones, but we didn't find any people. In fact, they were practically empty. When you think about the area the firewall surrounded, this is the warehouse district, yes, but there should also have been over 10,000 residents. If there are 300 people here, then that's another 33 warehouses full of captives, right? Brain took a breath. So here's a question, why didn't we find any other people? It's possible we had bad luck. We did avoid places that seemed heavily guarded by demons. But what if they were already taken from the warehouse district to some other location? Doesn't that make more sense? Oh, and we have no way of knowing where that new location is. But these are demons doing the abducting, so they can be very nice. Climb could hear the sniffling of some people who figured out what he was getting at. And if you stay here, you'll probably be carried off by the demons too. That's why we evacuating now. Just remember this, we still in demon territory. If you don't try to move both quickly and quietly, you'll be killed during the escape. Hey you, looks like you have a question. I'll allow you to ask something, but only you. The frightened man he pointed at with his katana asked in a quiet voice, what if we stay here? You'd probably get carried off to the awful kind of place a demon would want to take you. Wow, Brain shot a fierce look at the lady who wailed, and she lowered her voice immediately. I'll allow a question. My son is only 3, so maybe it would be better to stay here and get taken to the same place I see. Well, I am not going to put any effort into rescuing people who don't want to escape. This kid might want to, but not me. I'd like you to remember that it's entirely possible that your child is in another warehouse being saved by another squad right as we speak. If you still want to stay in spite of that, I won't stop you, but then you'd be creating an orphan, and I sure can handle looking after it. Brain spoke coldly to the gloomy commoners. I'll say it again, it's nearly certain that you'll be carried off by the demons if you stay here. If you're okay with that, I won't stop you. After all, it's totally possible that we'll leave this warehouse and get killed by demons as we try to escape. That was where Climb chimed in. He needed to say something. That said, we'll do our utmost to protect anyone who makes up their mind to escape. I hate to be burdened, but I'll listen to Princess Rena's soldier. I'll protect you. Okay, then we move in a few minutes. You're free to stay. You're also free to discuss among yourselves in lowered voices. Do what you like. Nothing that could be called discussion occurred. They might have still been anxious that their neighbors were demons. Many people preferred running, hoping that they would be able to reunite with their family members saved by other groups. There aren't any other squads. We went around to a lot of other warehouses. At most, there are 2 or 3 more that are safe. Brain knew that, but he glared around fiercely, gripping his katana tightly to make sure no one raised their voices. Climb approached him, bowing slightly. He addressed him in a lowered voice. Thanks, Brain, you did what I should have done. Don't worry about it. That's not the kind of thing you can say when attached to the princess. I am practically a mercenary, so it shouldn't cause any trouble for me. I only acted as the whip. Still, thank you. Brain smiled awkwardly. Well, it's a pain to repeat myself a zillion times, so fine, I get it. I accept your gratitude. Yes, back her. Walking toward them was the thief. He'd been on alert, watching the situation outside. He wasn't rushing back, so they figured he wasn't there to tell them of approaching danger. What's up? Oh, it's nothing, Mr. Unglaus. No sign of approaching demons. But as you all but said, it's a matter of time. Yeah, this could just be their last stop. You were watching the outside, right? What was that earthquake a bit ago? No idea. Maybe a fissure opened up, and demons surged in from the demon world. Please don't dream up worst-case scenarios. Sorry, Climb, sorry. Anyhow, should we get this show on the road? Just as Brain was about to raise his voice to address the people, they heard something landing outside the warehouse. In the hush that immediately followed, the thief crept closer to the door and took a peek outside. Then he waved his hands. It was the sign they decided for demon. Then he signed a strong one. Brain and Climb looked at each other. Then they quietly went over to the thief. As they watched in silence, they saw the creature. Unlike all others they'd seen so far, they sensed immense strength from this one. Almost 10 feet high, its physique was bulky with muscle, and it had bat wings on its back. Its head was the skull of a goat or something similar, and it was gripping a gigantic maul. It was looking toward the warehouse, and Climb and the others peering out felt it meet their gaze. Perhaps it had sensed them with some kind of magic. Now it was undoubtedly waiting for them to come out. That thing's strong brain murmured. Without a doubt, the thief answered. Climb nodded in agreement. He quietly looked at Brain. He'd gotten scolded back then with the Shaltier monster, so this time he intended to obediently accept it if he got told to run. Climb, fight with me. Yes, sir. Climb answered in a voice that was quiet but loud enough. You Ray okay with that? Yeah, look at that thing. He must have just escaped a fight. He's all beat up. I don't know how it would go if he were wounded at all, but if we rush him now, I think we have a good enough chance at winning. Brain slapped Climb on the shoulder and said he expected a lot out of him. Climb nodded emphatically and activated the power of the ring Decisive gave him. The ring, made by a dragon lord with ancient magic, had the power of temporarily boosting a warrior's powers. With it, Decisive Stronov, the strongest man in the kingdom, could enter the hero realm, but Climb couldn't get that far. Even if he used his martial art release brain power along with it, he still wouldn't be half as strong as Brain. He could, however, achieve the power of a mithril rank warrior. Shall we? Brain took point and was about to walk outside when the thief called out to stop him. Mr. Unglaus, maybe it's about time you started calling me Brain. You're older than me and I just feel weird being called Mr. Okay, Brain then. What should I do? You stay here, Lockmeyer. That thing could be pulling a feint. If it gets close, I'll help. If it comes to that, we'll be counting on you. Let's go, Climb. I probably don't need to tell you, but stay on your guard. Yes, sir. 5 late fire moon September 4:03 a.m. KGH. Everly grunted as she took an attack to the stomach. Her body barely felt any pain, but she hadn't completely lost her human senses. Whenever she took an attack, she couldn't help reacting. Alpha spotted the moment of distraction and used the opening to attack her head-on. The explosion, like impact, knocked the wind out of her and sent her flying. She felt the negative energy flowing through her body decrease sharply. She couldn't use the strategy of converting physical damage to magical energy loss. Her objective was to buy time. If she ran out of magical energy, she would lose the ability to fight. So she had to consume equal parts life energy and magical energy. Covered in dirt, she used fly to force herself upright. Then she saw Nabe get knocked out from a side street. She was a mess. Everly headed her way. The reason they were coming after her was probably to wait until they were in the same place to kill them both at once. When Everly tried to help her up, she sprang to her feet. Oh, it's you, she said, cold and rough. She's beat up enough that her life should be in danger, but something isn't letting her feel it. Either she's not scared to die, or she believes Momon will slay Jaldabaoth before that happens. Everly figured it had to be one or the other. Can you still fight? Of course. No problem. It was a stupid question. Still, this woman surpasses your average human. Is she a demigod too? She had a number of injuries and was messy with blood and dirt, but it didn't seem like she was fatally wounded. Everly's injuries might have been worse. Considering Everly had taken 2 opponents, the fact that Nabe had taken 3 and gotten away with so little damage had to mean, frustrating as it was, that she was more capable. You look awful yourself. I am fine. Everly smirked in spite of herself at how Nabe-like the response was. Nabe shouldn't have been able to see her face since she was wearing her mask, but she must have picked up some vibes because a dubious look appeared on her face. Now I just thought that response was very you. I see. What should we do now? What should we do? You mean how should we buy time? Everly turned a penetrating glare on their 5 opponents. The bug maid's desire to end her life pierced her like a spear. From the others, perhaps because they thought she would be easy to kill, there was surprisingly little hostility. That too, there's nothing we can do. If there were 2 of them like there are of us, we'd be plenty able to win, but when they ray as strong as us, and there are more of them, that's as losing battle as it gets. What if we ran away? If we turn our backs and run, they might not follow us. If you want to do that, I'll protect your rear. Nabe's regular features twisted up in disgust. When you ray that beautiful, even making an ugly face like that doesn't ruin it, Everly thought. It was an out-of-place observation, though. Suddenly, someone went flying, accompanied by the sound of a collapsing building. The figure bounced off the ground and continued rolling. Everly gasped, though she wasn't breathing. She thought for a second it was Momon, but it wasn't the one who'd been launched away was Jaldabaoth. The sight of his reeling figure, all beat up, excited her. She didn't even have to wonder who had dealt him such severe wounds, who had knocked him all the way over here. She looked in the direction he'd come from and could make out a warrior standing there. His raven black armor had taken heavy damage, making it clear in one glance what an intense fight the two of them had been having. Still, comparing him and his solid stance to Jaldabaoth, who was practically flat on the ground, was more than enough to tell who was in the lead. Everlai allowed herself to feel the surge of joy and squeezed both her hands into fists. Momon slowly lowered his swords and called out to Jaldabaoth. "This is kind of fun. It feels real, I guess. I feel like I am actually fighting, so this is how the Vanguard felt. I was so cornered in our close quarters exchange earlier that I couldn't feel it. It seems I've caught combat mania. Anyhow, you can come at me as hard as you can in that form. There's no taunt more bitter than telling your opponent to use all their strength on you," thought Everlai. But then she shook her head. Maybe it was what he wanted. Since he was so strong, Momon probably didn't have many opportunities to go all out. He probably defeated his enemies before he could get serious. To a man like that, facing an opponent against whom he could use his full strength must have been a joy. Very well, the demon must have taken it as derision. He replied with a deep, bitingly sarcastic bow. Seeing that response, a sense of superiority that she knew Momon better than Jaldabaoth did swelled in her chest. "Then I'll attack in earnest. Bring it on, Jaldabaoth." With those words as the trigger, the pair clashed at the point exactly between them. Their exchange was like the first time Everlai met Momon. Long fingernails repelled ultra-fast chain attacks. They were blocking Momon's huge great swords, so they had to be harder than ordinary nails. Momon took a giant leap back. The jump's power was so great it seemed almost like he'd used fly. Then he threw a sword up into the air. As her eyes focused on the whirling blade, her peripheral vision caught Momon pointing a spear out of nowhere. The spear had a crimson head, like a swirl of fire. He launched it at Jaldabaoth. It zoomed toward the demon at ultra-high speed, leaving a vivid red trail that nearly branded her retinas. Demon aspect purgatory clothes. On impact, fire leaped into the sky, and a shock wave raged through the area. KGH, Everlai hunkered down so the burst of air wouldn't blow her away. She was lucky she had the mask on, so she could keep her eyes open in the blast. As she watched, Momon neatly caught the sword that dropped straight down back to him, as if it was slicing through the wind. Then he charged at Jaldabaoth again. Jaldabaoth, poised to meet him, was enveloped in flames. The spear Momon had thrown was sticking out of the ground at his feet. Momon swung the sword down, and Jaldabaoth caught the blade with his hand. At that second, the demon's hand started smoking, and the sword slowly sunk into his fingers. If you can melt a weapon of this level, you must have strengthened that power, huh? As an adventurer of the highest rank, Momon's weapon had to be made of fairly high-quality metal. Still, Jaldabaoth was able to produce flames that could melt it, and Momon had the guts to hold a conversation, unfazed, despite being so close to the extreme heat. These two are insane. Everlai was stricken with fear. She'd known, of course, they were both powerful, but she still couldn't stop trembling. As you so wisely perceive, I've increased my fire damage with a skill. Suddenly, something black began to mix into the leaping flames. Hellfire? Yes, I can of you escaping unscathed just because you have perfect resistance to fire. Momon backed up in a retreat for the first time, but Jaldabaoth wasn't about to allow that. Now Jaldabaoth was the one closing the distance and repeatedly attacking Momon. Momon used his great swords to continuously block attacks that would have slaughtered a human in the blink of an eye. In the midst of a close-quarters battle so fierce, his metal armor was starting to glow red with heat. Momon took a bizarre weapon out from somewhere and swung it. Frost pain rebuilt. Icy burst. A torrent of freezing chill burst from the weapon, causing a sudden drop in temperature throughout the area. It was powerful enough to freeze fire, but Jaldabaoth's hellfire was hotter. Still, it did give some temporary relief from the heat. Everlai could hear Jaldabaoth's surprised shout from where she was. "What in the world is that?" he said. "Same goes for the spear. While I can use magic, I am using weapons with attributes," she explained. "I built this imitation frost pain as an experiment, and as a bonus, I made it stronger than the real one. There's also a way to cast the high-tier spell. It contains 3 times per day, but I guess it doesn't work very well on someone of your caliber, since I can boost it with skills." The conversation they were having was unreal. Even though they were engaged in a battle to the death, they were chatting casually to confirm each other's abilities. Something Gagarin once said popped into Everly's head. As a warrior, sometimes when you ray trading blows, you start to understand how your enemy feels, almost like you ray old friends. At the time, she wondered what the heck she was talking about, but now I guess she was right. Everly had grown to understand a ton of things over the course of this one day.